Welcome to another episode of F It, I've Got a Brain Injury. My name's Ken, and I'm here with Jesse.
The idea of this podcast was to have a podcast for people with brain injuries, for people with family members who have brain injuries, for people who want to learn more about brain injuries. And I wanted to let it be known that me and Ken, the hosts, have brain injuries. So I apologize for my voice, and I also apologize for Ken's face. Thank God you can't see it. He has a face for radio.
I have a face that would make a freight train take a dirt road.
So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy.
Welcome to another edition of F It, I Have a Brain Injury. I'm here with Jesse, and today we're going to be interviewing Andy. Andy, is there anything you'd like to discuss first?
No, I'm just glad to be here and hope I'll be able to give you some good information to see where I came from.
Do you want to do a little background on yourself to get started?
Oh, well, how far back do you want to go? I was born in 1944.
Right.
But no, I went to school in the capital region, and I've pretty much been in the capital region ever since. I worked for the state for about 35 years. But after I retired, I volunteered with Habitat for Humanity in Troy, and we built lots of homes for people who didn't have homes of their own but could finally. And they helped us build the homes. It was a great experience. Until one day I was working on a window on the first floor of a house outside and fell off the ladder and hit my head on the ground.
Do you remember it?
Absolutely no memory.
None.
I am told that I was in Albany Med for 3 weeks and in Helen Hayes for 3 months. I only remember about the last 2 weeks at Helen Hayes.
Did you have were you in a coma state, or were you in a coma to heal your brain?
When I was in Albany Med, I have no idea. I have no memory. Many people came to see me, and I hear stories now about what I looked like, what I was like, and what I could or couldn't say. And it was kind of frightening because I just had no capability to do much, but I had broken my head wide open. And in fact, the upper right side of my head is all plastic. The bone was taken out and they put plastic in its place.
And look at this. Now we can't shut you up. I think that's a good thing.
That is another issue. In fact, leaping slightly ahead, when I got hooked in at St. Rose, I couldn't talk. And Dr. Pickering's came out and gave me an exercise to try to redevelop my voice. It was very easy for me to do. Me, 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 me. And I did it 3 or 4 times a day. And in 2 or 3 days, I could talk again. And the next week when I came in, he came out and said, "How are you doing? Did the exercise work?" And I said, "Yes, it did. Listen to me." But the thing that bothers me, I know a lot of people who are going to hate you, but it was unbelievable what just came back. But I couldn't read. I would read 2 or 3 words, and it would take me a half a minute or more to read the next word. And that's the way my reading went.
And look at you now. I remember you when you first came to St. Rose. You weren't in the book club at that point, but you were actually starting to read a lot more and talk more.
Well, I was trying to read, but then it's funny how things just evolve. But at that point, I was told I had needed cataracts removed. Turns out, I've been wearing glasses since I was in first grade, and my eye doctor, when I was a kid, never said anything. But I had congenital cataracts. I'd had them my entire life.
From birth?
From birth.
Wow.
But when they took them out, and it took them a while, and there was this and there was that, and it was over 6 months before I got to the point where I could really see again to read. So I'm trying to read, and I didn't have glasses for the fixed eyes.
Right.
And so reading was still a challenge, but for another reason.
Right.
And I finally did, and then finally got into really reading books with the book club. And what a difference that was.
Just to ask real quick, Andy, you said that you weren't able to read, like you couldn't say the words. Melissa, can I ask you, is that like aphasia? I mean, I know aphasia is when you can't say the word, but is that aphasia what Andy is describing?
So, Andy, you're describing two different difficulties
Yes.
with reading. One was that it was hard to just decode and then understand what you were reading while you were reading it, and that's what took practice after your head injury.
Yeah.
And then when that got a little bit easier and you felt like you were able to start the book club, actually seeing the words was difficult because of your cataract repair surgery.
But the cataract repair actually began after I was coming here. And so that's what made it's just slowed me down again.
Okay, yeah.
And then when I finally got real glasses, ta-da, it was I could read, but I still have some trouble with words. I will look at a word in a book and I have to think about what it really is, but it's just once in a while.
Okay.
And so everything comes back slowly, but I'm able to do more and I'm able to think it through. And so all the parts seem to be coming together, and that's what's been just really pretty spectacular to me, because I was a very technical person before, and losing that ability was really hit hard. But now, as I say, as it comes back, it's like, okay, the only trouble is I can't do, for whatever reasons, the physical things I used to be able to do. But that's just because I'm getting old.
I was going to say that's probably age.
But to answer your question, Jesse, so reading impairment after brain injury and after stroke is very common. And all of you can, speak to that. And reading requires so many aspects of the brain. There's demands on vision and phonology and comprehension and, what you need to pronounce words and to decode words and to remember it and to organize the information and to attend to a book for a period of time and use executive functions so that you can be reading and say, oh, I didn't quite get that, and go back and reread it. And so many of those functions are impaired after brain injury. And there's some common profiles of brain injury where a lot of that is impaired. But really, any brain injury can result in any profile of impairment. So the reading and what you are describing, Andy, is common in people, especially people that had a professional life. Like, reading is very, very important to you. Were you a reader before your injury?
I did read a lot of books.
Reading for pleasure.
Yeah, I would go through the newspaper like that.
Yeah.
And of course I read for work. I had to do a lot of reading for work, and it wasn't a problem. I just did it.
Yeah.
And a lot of different reading. Some books, some reports, some, things that other people had done, and it was good. but it kind of disappeared for a while.
Can you remember what you're reading? Was that a problem when you first got started? That's my biggest problem. I can read, but I can't remember it.
I think there was some of that not remembering, but now, then, when I first got involved in the reading group and knew that I had to make some kind of presentation during the class, I found that I would read and then go back and, in effect, reread, but take notes.
Right.
And I'd take 12 to 15 pages of notes for reading 2 chapters in a book. And then from that, I'd make up whatever my thoughts or questions or the direction I wanted to participate in whatever I presented to the class from those notes. And so it's become a project each week, but it's been good. And quite frankly, the reason it's worked is the students.
Yep.
You know, it's just, there's so many pieces to this program that astound me. And so much of it is the role the students play with us when we're going through everything.
And it's the participants as well. We keep it light. We do our work, but we keep it light.
That the participants, the functional participants in the class are spectacular. And
Including me?
including some days some pretty interesting entertainment.
Yeah. And we found out that probably around 25 pages a week is more than enough.
Yeah, that certainly is. When we get to the 35 pages, it becomes a challenge for me because one of my problems is I know the things I got to do, but keeping myself focused
Right.
and sitting down and doing the reading, sometimes it disappears.
So, Andy, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you still take around 12 pages of notes, or has it reduced
No,
at
well,
all?
that's one of the things that I've seemed to have fallen back on is keeping my focus on what I have to do to go through the process that I had sort of established.
And that's what the students help you with.
Well, there's a good bit of that, but part of it is I just don't take as many notes as I do. I read it and start to think about it, and then I go back and I'll take some notes on a part to try and fill in what I don't have any ability to remember at all. But then, or have just where I've decided, oh, this is what I think I'm interested in. And so I don't focus on the whole reading, but on the part I want to, talk about.
Right.
So it's improving.
Well, it improves in some ways. It reduces the amount of time I have to put in, but I'm not being as broad-based as I was.
Okay.
You have good insight too. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Where the where the book is going,
Yeah.
where it might end up.
Or where it's changed direction and we don't know where it's
Right.
going, and where are we going next week, perchance.
Which we never know.
Yeah,
Which is the
right,
best
we
part
don't,
about it.
But it's
Especially with
but
this
that
book.
creates the a conversation of what do you think, what did you learn, what came together in these 2 chapters for you, or if we read 3, what'd you leave out?
Right. That's. I think what we said 2 chapters is more than enough.
Oh yeah,
About what do you say, 20 or 30 pages tops.
yeah, right, and it varies from book to book because some books, one chapter will go in one aspect of the story, and the next chapter will go in a completely different direction of what we might evolve in the next chapter we read.
Right.
So it's a walk around process, and you never know where the pathway's going to go or where you'll be in the woods.
Yep.
Personally, me,
Yeah.
I really do not do well with the books that go from different times. Like one chapter there in 1999, next year, 1960. I just do not do well with those because it's. I don't know what it is, but I don't. I just don't do well with it.
With all timelines, is that a problem for you?
Well, in books, yeah.
Yep.
In books, yeah.
Yeah, well, like that's one of the things. Like when we were reading The Killers of the Flower Moon, there'd be
Yeah.
a chapter about people getting sick or murdered,
Right.
and
My
then the
favorite.
next chapter would be about trying to take a person to court or, point the judge, the gun, something at them saying, "You killed this person. Why did you do it?"
Right.
And it just it banged around like that, and it was easy to lose track of what was going on because on one page we're worried about how people are living, and now they're worrying about how to figure out why this guy killed that person, and you may not even know who he killed at that point.
Right.
It's just there was a death,
Back and forth.
and that was hard to keep a track on and follow.
Yeah.
And I agree
Yeah.
with that. Troublesome, keeping the focus.
Yeah.
The only one that I didn't know about was the Flower Moon,
Yeah,
because I don't know who picked that, but I was not in that process at all.
yeah. I have no recollection of what the discussion was, but we read it, and it was an interesting trip.
Right.
My book that I just hated was The Alchemist. The Alchemist I did not like at all. I don't know about you, Ken.
There was some research in that one. That's why I liked it. Unlike the book now, where it's really hard to pick stuff out to research.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah, and
futuristic, so it's hard.
It was advertised as sort of a research and fancy book, and it had none of those aspects to it.
I just like the quality death in this one. That's the best part about it for me. My criteria to a book is people have to die.
Of the sower.
Yeah, terrible.
Well, the one reading now,
Parable of the
okay, yeah,
Sale.
the one reading now, I really like. I really like the book we're
You
reading
like
now.
it?
You do?
Parable of the Sower?
No.
Yeah, I do. It reminds me of The Walking Dead, the show.
Oh,
I
It
don't
might
know.
come down to it eventually.
And that's why I love
hope
it.
springs eternal. No, well, I have a different view than you do, though I will say that I'm feeling a little better about it now than I did 2-3 weeks ago.
Right, yep.
I was ready to just toss it out.
For most of us, the book we're going to love to hate.
Yeah. But, so the bottom line is we'll get through it.
Mhm.
And you'll feel even better. And now I'm so glad to know that we're making you feel good. Because that's all that matters.
Right.
It's true. That is all that matters. That I feel good. Thank you for addressing that, Andy.
Well, we just want people to show up and contribute's the main thing.
Book club is just, it does add things. And actually, I keep going back to the students. The students I've had have just been so good at keeping me engaged and now keeping me focused and reminding me, keeping me on a reasonable schedule
Right.
to get things done. And then what I always do, and I have always done, is the stuff that I'm going to hope to present, I send it to my student, hopefully by Sunday. Sometimes it's Tuesday morning. But to get, any comments or what do you think, directions, thoughts on what it is. And that's been very, very helpful and helping keeping me focused. And that's just another skill that the students are developing that's going to be great for them in the life beyond St. Rose.
For me, when I'm reading a book, for me to actually remember it, I have to read in the morning. Everybody's a little different.
yeah,
Some people
yeah.
like to read at night, but I'm a morning person.
Yeah. I like to read on the toilet. Personally, just throwing it out there.
Well, that's fine for you. I'm not coming over to your house to read.
And unfortunately, I think you're telling the truth.
No, well,
I've tried to get someone to bring in recliners for us all, but so far it hasn't happened.
Yeah, but then you'll all sleep through
Right,
your class.
Right?
But I already sleep. But just make me comfortable. Thank you for listening to F It, I Have a Brain Injury. I'm Jesse, and this is Ken.
And I hope you all get something out of this podcast.
We would love to hear your stories too. See you next time.
See you next time.